Got Eryk Anders back here on the program. He's coming off a very close fight against Lyoto Machida at UFC Fight Night 128. Eryk, how are you today?
Man, I'm doing awesome. And yourself, man? Appreciate you having me once again.
No problem. It's always good talking to you. I'm doing well, by the way. Thanks for asking. I appreciate it. Where am I getting you today? Where are you heading to? The gym or doing errands, or what am I
I'm
getting you
I'm
today?
I'm actually just left the gym, doing a little house hunting right now. So just saw a house, and we'll see what happens with that.
That's great. Oh, so you and the wife are scouting some houses right now, I guess you're saying.
Yep.
That's good. How's that going? I know that can be kind of a stressful process and kind of a pain too, because you always want like the right things, right, in buying a house.
I mean, it's not too stressful. Not in any rush to get anything. So, we're cool where we're at. So, we'll see what happens with this house right here.
Let's talk about your last fight. I talked about it off the top, Lyoto Machida. First off, how was that experience competing in Brazil and going down there, getting to do all that? Because it's a lot different than fighting in the States.
Yeah, it was cool. Man, really the only thing difference was like the media stuff that I had to do. A lot more media stuff, open workouts, things like that. But the UFC keeps it real simple on fight week. They don't take up too much of your time because they know that you're cutting weight and doing all that stuff. And a lot of those guys get irritable. So yeah, everything went smooth except for on the day of the weight cut. I do the hot tub thing, the sit in the hot bath deal. But apparently the water heater blew up in the basement of the hotel we were at. So, didn't really work out the way I wanted it to. Took a lot longer. I actually ran out of time because, the water wasn't hot. So they brought up scalding hot cauldrons of water that, now I got to wait for the water to cool down so I don't, burn myself when I get in there. But still, I was like a pound and a half over when I had to weigh in. But, the UFC and the commission, they understood the situation, so they gave me an extra hour. So I just threw on the sauna suit and sweats and walked around for 45 minutes, made weight, and, it was all good after that.
It didn't look like it affected your performance in the fight, but how annoying was that to deal with something that should have been provided for by the UFC? I know things happen, but it's the UFC's job to give you guys a hotel that has working facilities. I mean that's kind of annoying, I would imagine.
I mean, yeah, I have everything timed out. Everything. At 10 o'clock, I'm doing this. At 9 o'clock, everything. So I had everything timed out, mapped out. Try to do the weight cut the same way every time. So I think it stresses the body, and it's really frustrating for me to start and then have to stop and start and then have to stop. So usually I just get up really early in the morning and knock it out, and then try to be one of the first people on the scale at 9 o'clock when we were allowed to weigh in and stuff. So I was the last person and didn't weigh in until like 12. So, but the good thing about fighting in Brazil is, I didn't fight till 3 in the morning. So I had all that extra time to recoup and recover and rehydrate and whatnot. So, it wasn't too big of a deal, but at the time, it's pretty frustrating.
So let's talk about the matchup. It goes to the judges' scorecards. Now, as that's happening, do you think you're losing just because you're in Brazil and the judges, they have been a little bit biased in the past?
Man, I think that both me and Lyoto think that I won that fight. If you look at his demeanor at the bell at the end of the 5th round, his head was hanging low. He was sitting down on the stool. So I think that he thought that he had lost that fight as well.
Yeah, and I know the feedback on social media has been overwhelmingly positive for you. A lot of people, including myself, thought that you won the fight. Does that make it a little bit easier, having the first loss in your career, but knowing that a lot of people felt like you won?
Man, my thing with the fight is, I fought 5 rounds and could have fought another 5. I wasn't breathing hard, my conditioning was straight, and I feel like if a fight goes to the decision and you feel like that, that's an error on my part. I feel like if a fight goes to the decision, you should be, dead tired, and have to crawl out of the cage kind of thing, So definitely an output issue on my part. Definitely should have and could have done more. So, I can't be too disappointed with the result, but more so disappointed with my performance.
Was there anything about him in the fight that surprised you at all?
Not at all. His previous fights, he'd been knocked out. He was going out there and trying to box with guys and whatnot. And the whole time leading up to the fight, he was talking about he's going back to his old ways and blah blah blah. So, I figured that he would dance around the skirt of the cage and run around a little bit. So, not surprised at all. I was surprised he wasn't as fast and didn't hit as hard as I thought. Um, and I think that you probably shouldn't have boxing judges scoring MMA fights because the criteria for winning rounds and winning fights is different. I don't think that you can win a fight, kicking somebody with your big toe, not inflicting any damage or anything like that. So it is what it is. I also think that I smothered myself. There were a few times, every time I touched him, I see his eyes roll back, and but instead of stepping back and throwing more punches, I kind of smothered myself and started wrestling a little bit. So, definitely a big learning experience for me, and definitely ready to get back in there and showcase my skills now.
Yeah, and let's talk about that. Aside from house hunting, what have you been up to since we last saw you? You fought in February. I know it's only May now, but I'm sure you want to get in there fairly soon.
Yeah, right after the fight, I had elbow surgery. I had an ulnar nerve issue going on there that's now fixed. I'm 100%, feel good, feel strong. So, man, I'd love to get back in there. I still want to fight on that Liverpool card. So, I've still got my fingers crossed. Maybe, me and Jack Marshman can get in there and duke it out.
Interesting. Why Jack? Is that just a fight you've wanted, or just the fact that it's a middleweight fight and you're hoping something changes there?
Man, it's a middleweight fight. I know that he's from over there, so maybe that entices the UFC to put him on the card a little bit more. So, I'm down to fight anybody at any time. I think that the UFC knows that, my team knows that. So, whatever name comes across that contract, I'm down and we'll be there.
And you're expecting something short notice at this point because, like you said, you're ready. You've been doing training camp. You had the surgery. It seems like at any point, if that phone call happens, wherever the fight is, you'd be willing to take it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like the most of the middleweight division has just recently fought or is about to fight. So, maybe somebody slips on a banana peel and, gets injured or whatever, and they give me the call to step in against whoever, wherever.
And what's on the agenda for the rest of the year? I know you and your wife like to travel a lot. That's something we talk about a lot on here. Do you guys have any trips planned, or are you just kind of, getting this house purchased and wait and see?
Yeah, I'd like to fight one more time. It's been like 3 months now since I fought last, so fingers crossed something comes up relatively quickly here, and we'll see what happens after the fight.
And last question before I let you go. We always got to talk some football in here. Greg Hardy is going to be on the Contender Series. I don't know if you saw that or not. What's your reaction to him making his pro debut in the Contender Series? I mean, he could win his fight and be in the UFC potentially this year.
Man, his last fight, he knocked the dude out in like 13 seconds or something like that. There's not a whole lot of like athletic heavyweights, right? And that guy, he's super athletic for his size. And, man, I just think he's going to be a force to reckon with. Obviously, extremely young in his career. But, if he's got the work ethic, I think that, he could rise to the top relatively quickly. So I think he'll be successful. I don't think they're going to give him, he's not going to fight Stipe his first fight. He's not going to fight Francis or Derek Lewis or anything like that. So, I think they'll build him up, give him some winnable fights, some good matchups. And I think he'll be successful.
Eryk, it's always good talking to you, man. I appreciate you giving us an update here. Hopefully you get that short notice fight that you want. But in the meantime, where can people get a hold of you on social media? And if you got any sponsors or shout-outs, man, the floor is yours.
Man, you guys can get at me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, at Eryk Anders, ERYKANDERS. Shout out to Infinite CBD. Go to infinitecbd.com, use promo code Anders10, the number 10. And save yourself some money on your purchases and shipping and whatnot. And always, of course, grunt style.
What's up, fight fans? If you like this video, be sure to subscribe to see even more interviews with your favorite UFC and Bellator fighters. We've also got coverage at events, including post-fight press conferences and media scrums. And if you like this video, check out the video to my right. It's worth your time.